Hi, welcome to NLP Sales. I'm joined by an expert in the field, Darius Saoudi, and he's been a master in sales and business for a very long time. Darius, tell me your background.
Thanks, Dave. I've been in sales and marketing for 25 years. I didn't actually finish my education because I realized I was dyslexic. So I automatically went into sales because you could earn the most amount of money from the limited knowledge I had. But nobody wanted to employ a young 17, 18-year-old. So I started right at the bottom, whereby I was knocking on doors, selling vacuum cleaners. I was knocking on doors, trying to promote double glazing. But I learned the most amount that I've ever learned in my life in those periods at the beginning, in ages 17 to 18 really. Because you get most amount of rejection. It's a numbers game. You start studying why people reject you, how you get sales, how you get through the door. Also, you work with other people, your colleagues who are in the same situation as yourself. So you tend to network and find out the kind of feedback they're getting from customers and the psychology of what makes people successful. It's nothing like being on the ground floor dealing with prospects day in, day out.
But we're going to be going through some of the major parts of what makes a successful sale and breaking it down into its individual pieces. What would you say is your philosophy, first of all, for anybody who's getting into sales and wondering why they can't get more? What would you say is behind that?
I think the first thing is the word sales tends to put people off because they automatically visualize this person selling second-hand car sales. They go to a showroom and they feed them loads of lies, and sales isn't like that. Sales is about people buying from you in confidence. So the first thing people think is, when I was young, I was learning my trade and moving out through the world, and I've been self-employed ever since. When somebody said to me in a party, "Wow, you make a great salesman," I used to be really complimented. I was thinking, wow, what a great thing to say. Then I realized it's actually an insult. When somebody comments that you make a great salesman, they're actually saying that you talk too much. Whilst great salespeople actually do a lot more listening, and they have a lot more empathy than somebody who just rattles off all about their products or services. So the first thing I'll say is that people's perception of sales needs to change. I speak to loads of entrepreneurs and business owners, and they try to do everything they can to avoid the word sales. I think the first thing is to acknowledge that we're all salespeople. Even if we're going on interviews, we're selling ourselves. We meet somebody in a networking event, we're selling ourselves. And the fact is, from time to time, people feel they can't sell is because they really, honestly, truly don't believe that their product is unique. They don't believe that their proposition is actually really, really good or outstanding. So they hold back. And if a prospect or somebody we meet feels that energy, they're never going to do business with us. So the first thing I'll say about sales is have confidence, belief in what you're offering, and make sure that whatever you're offering has a higher value than what the prospect is parting from, which is often money. Okay,
we're going to break it down into 12 different steps. The first one is urgency. Talk about sense of urgency.
I've been blessed and cursed in a funny way, because when I was young, I had a number of deaths in my family, close family members, and although it's very, very painful and very, very emotional, it makes you realize how short life is. So I meet people from time to time who have amazing products, amazing services, amazing company, and they just spend life like it's going to last forever. And they wonder why people aren't buying their products or services, or people don't take action. And they find sometimes, what I do is, when I talk to my clients, I say that there's got to be a sense of urgency in something. If you have clear goals and guidelines, okay, with your life, and you're committed to achieving your personal goals, then why don't we do it today, rather than procrastinating and doing it tomorrow, and tomorrow never comes and it's another day, and a year goes by, and you look back and you think, I really haven't gone far. And sometimes, my own experience, you look back, 5 years has gone by, and you just wasted your life. You know, I look back and I think, when I was at this age, 10 years before, I was actually better off financially than I was 10 years on, because I really lacked focus. So if you have urgency, and you put your goals, you document them, you value them, you put time scales against it, and you commit, that urgency is automatic, because you're on a path. You're committed to your goals, which is really inevitably happiness. And what I find is that people don't get consistency of results in their lives because their goals don't match their values. So For instance, people come to me and say, what are your goals? They say, I want to have a Ferrari, I want to have a boat, I want to have a house, I want to have this. It's a lot of materialistic stuff. Now, it's okay to be driven materialistically, but often what they don't tap into is their emotions, their values. And when they're in sync, it lasts. When it's not in sync, you go into the trend of self-sabotage. So you do really well, and then you sabotage it, you go back again, you do really well. My job is to work with people to stick to the plan. I'll be the autopilot from the journey from airport A to airport B. Because 99% of the time, this plane is off target, offline. And through turbulence, wind, and so that's what happens in life. So people tend to have coaches where they actually align them to get them back on track, but within a time scale.
So how do you use that sense of urgency and impose it on a client who's wasting time about getting things done?
Sure. On the back of my card it says that time is the most precious thing. We lose money, we lose relationships, but we can always gain those relationships back. We can gain that money back. Time we can never get back. So what I do is I actually look at people's goals, business, financial, personal, and I break it down. Because once, for instance, in a business, somebody says you have a goal of $30,000 to achieve within 12 months or 30 days. And it seems like a very, very big goal or a large target to achieve. So what I do is I actually break it down into weekly, daily, even hourly targets. And what we do is we align ourselves on an hourly basis. So we set our plan for a day in the morning and we reevaluate how it's gone end of the day. And if we can do that throughout our organization, imagine how much more productive your company is going to be, or how much productive you're going to be, how much more successful you'll be as a father, a husband, a wife, a business lady.